Welcome back to the stream. Ow. One second. I'm streaming. I think around 3. I think. I'm not sure. Ask Dad. We're playing Of the Devil. Devil. Do, do, do. So last time we left off, the witness finally arrived. Thank you, Your Honor. I have no more questions for the witness at this time. Really? But the redirect fizzles out. Counselor, you want to snap it up? No, Your Honor. Dang, Detective London, nobody wants to talk to your ass. Wow, why is she so mean? Miss Rockford let it go. She doesn't hold anything back in the courtroom, but only because that's what gives her the greatest chance of victory. If the jury wouldn't hear either way, she has no need to stall for time. She won't stoke the coals for the fun of it. So if you hadn't fought against that redirect up to the very last moment, bullet caught, huh? Yeah, nothing impressive about putting my arm between the gun and my heart. I was gonna say stomach. The analogy seems weaker somehow. There he is, the man of the hour, the hero who put a stop to the Hound of Ikaria, and who brought justice to the city over the loss of its favored son, Tariq Chopin. Patrol Officer Rogers reporting for duty. You don't have to say that. Oh, sorry, then just reporting for duty. Name and occupation. Patrol Officer Huey Rogers. Occupation, Patrol Officer. Balance, easily upset. Former partner of Tariq Chopin. Apologies for earlier. It's fine. The court understands the city council had need of you. When I said my name wrong, won't happen again. And your tardiness? What's that? Being hours late to this trial? Did I not set a reminder? Does seeing me in the flesh jog your memory at all? No, not at all. I think this guy would be pretty hard to forget. You must have sustained quite the concussion then. As an appetizer, from what I saw, he's lucky nothing important leaked out of his ears. Shall we begin, Officer Rogers? Right, from where? The start! Oh. Well, it was a pretty boring, normal night. Me and Chopin were just out on our route, windows down. It was always getting car sick if the windows weren't down. Then around 9:45 or so, my partner heard shots fired. So off we went. What does that mean? Well, shot echoed down in the lower ward, so I wasn't too sure about the direction. But my partner was confident that it had something to do with the blue bloods. That area isn't on hotspot. As we neared the street, we saw people slinking away from it. You got the message. People can sense that kind of trouble, even when they don't know it. Something bad had gone down, and no one wanted anything to do with it. Front door wouldn't budge. I peeked around the alley, but the fire escape went out of commission. Then my partner shot clean through the door handle. Chopin was that determined to get inside based on some echoed gunshots and a few context clues. I suppose context clues are most of what I use to find the place too, but so when you arrived, the only way into the building was locked. Yeah, and so we had a strong reason to believe the scooter was still in the vicinity. I was in favor of waiting for backup at this point, but my partner, he was convinced the place was dead empty already. So he was moving a good bit faster than me, right up until we got to the second floor, and then we heard a loud slam. Like slam? Or like slam? Or like slam? I don't know, it was loud though. And Chopin gets all deadly serious and insists I stay, and he goes ahead up to the third floor. After a bit, he yelled down at me saying everyone was dead and I should come join him. Either he's a very, very stupid police officer or he knows something. He has ties to the Blue Bloods somehow. I think Chopin might have ties to them. I didn't know the sound, it was the sound of my partner's body hitting the floor. Well, I put two and two together when I saw that man there standing over him. Let the record show that the witness has finally identified the defendant. If you heard a noise at a crime scene, the natural conclusion would be that you were not alone. But if Chopin thought they weren't alone, why would he insist on splitting up? Chopin must have wanted to split up so they could cut off possible routes to escape. Perhaps I can shed some light on the way officers' actions. With more speculation? What's some helpful theorizing, capped off with hard evidence? Officer Chopin explicitly told his partner to stay behind, and the only reason he'd do that if he thought he'd let them catch an escaping suspect. Why would he think a suspect was escaping if he heard a noise upstairs? He wouldn't. He'd only think a suspect was escaping if the noise he heard was... A noise that came from the alley. What kind of noise would that be? A noise like I was the one I was treated to, like when Detective London clumsy shut the dumpster out there. I know, it left my ears ringing too, you know. What are you even talking about? I'm talking about an exit plan. In other words, how the real culprit managed to flee the scene. How does the dumpster lid relate to some imaginary suspect's great escape? 1983, 172 minutes. What? The only way of getting to the third floor from the street without going past the two cops clearing the building would be by going down the fire escape and into the alley. A fire escape that's broken, so no one could climb up it. But anyone could jump from it onto the dumpster below. Oh yeah, I can kind of see it. There must be a dead pixel you're seeing, Your Honor. Were there boot lids on top of the dumpster? A dent in the lid? No. Of course not. So there's no proof, no reason at all to think that anyone jumped down on top of it, and no reason for us to entertain this train of thought. I've got nothing. Even if there had been damage to the dumpster, I could never prove it was caused by a fleeing culprit. I'm thinking. I know. But might not this probably be the time for you to stop thinking and instead flip the go board like you told me to do before. You're horribly misquoting me, but Emma says there's no proof anyone fled the crime scene. If there was proof of that, what would it look like? Proof that someone was in that room when the police first arrived, but not there when the police got to the third floor. We would have had to take the fire escape if Rogers never saw them, and they couldn't have taken the fire escape without first opening the window. I was sure those windows were closed when I left, but they've been open ever since the scene was secured, and I can't testify to that. The one time I know the truth and I want it to get out, but I can't admit it without screwing myself over. Pardon the interruption, Your Honor. I have no objections at this time. Then the witness may continue. Please do. But rewind a bit at first if you could, since we got off topic. And don't spare any detail. Tell the court exactly what you saw, felt, and heard that night. So gladly recount every minute for us, line by line. Like every detail? Especially the irrelevant ones. Sir, yes, sir. I did get a little in my head just now. I better listen through his whole testimony at least once before I start looking for holes. It was a quiet night, but then my good partner heard gunshots. We headed for the nearest Orca hotspot and arrived to find the building dead quiet. The door was locked. I checked the alley but didn't see another way in. So Chopin shot off the lock through the handle and we entered. Followed some kind of loud music up the stairs. Then there was a slam and my partner bolted upstairs. Hold on, didn't your partner tell you to come right? Something stand out to you out tonight? Yeah, my ears pricked up a bit. The saying is perked up, is it not? What? Let me focus. One could move between the... I feel like this is going to be important. The fact that they can move between the second and third floor from the fire escape. Oh, wait. Okay. That's easy. How could you have arrived to find the place dead quiet when there was a sound system blaring on the top floor? The witness must not have heard the sound system. This is a noisy city, even will reward. But he did hear the music. He described it in his testimony just now. The building was dead quiet when you were outside, but you could hear music from the first floor. Well, yeah, I heard the music pretty much as we stepped inside. Only after you stepped inside? There's nothing strange about it blocking out some amount of sound. But it blocked out, like, all the sound. Once the door was open, the music was booming. The scene of the crime was a known Blue Blood property, yes? A safe house apartment complex of sort, as I understand it. There must have been a number of modifications to the premises. That front door certainly looked like a newest addition. Maybe they redid the windows, too. I don't mind stating it plainly. That building has been thoroughly... soundproof, Your Honor. You think the building was soundproof? I know it was. I experienced it myself, stepping out of the lower wards and into this dingy nightclub vibe. That would explain what the witness experienced, wouldn't it? Perhaps, but that wouldn't explain the building being dead quiet when it arrived. Not unless the window next to the sound system was closed. Showed my hand a bit there. She knows what I'm gunning for. Counselor, asking the court to accept that the building happened to be soundproof is not the flawless argument you're making it out to be. The window in question opened to the alley. Rogers could have easily missed the noise coming out of it. Even though he already testified that he checked the alley before his partner shot the door open, he might have merely neglected to mention that he heard music at the time. Music in the alley, I would have noticed that kind of thing, right? Fast on the uptake, this one. I'm looking at this arc from every angle I can, rotating cubes in my mind as fast as my programming can allow, and I'm still seeing a crime scene where the windows are open. What am I doing wrong? There's a trick to it. Try focusing on just a single cube first. Once you've got one spinning consistently... Yes, Your Honor, the windows were found open. It's a contradiction. The windows were closed when the officers arrived, but open by the time Rogers got to the third floor. That means someone must have opened them. Someone not currently on trial, Your Honor. You should stretch before attempting mental gymnastics that intense, Counselor. You claim that the windows were originally closed. Banger? And only open the last moment as some mystery individual fled down in the alley. But we know Creek was standing in front of those windows when he was shot, and we could see where his blood landed, on the sides of the window that face into the room when open. As you claim, the windows were closed when he was shot, then his blood somehow ended on the wrong side of the glass. Your theory is flawed. A far-flung fantasy with nothing other than Officer Rogers' poor hearing to support it. All the actual evidence shows that at the time of the murders, the windows were exactly as we found them, flung open. Her logic isn't faulty, and I can't overturn it with any given piece of evidence, but I can point out a flaw in how she presented her evidence. Thank you about the advice of taking full advantage of the arch, by the way, but trust me, there are some things that are best understood by visiting the crime scene in person. Helps keep you from getting flipped around. Apologies, Your Honor. I'm just confused. Why is Miss Rockford talking about those windows as if they swing open? What are you talking about? Those windows don't swing into the room. They're pulled to the side. What? Didn't you see the fingerprints they found at the handles? One look at that should tell you which side of the glass faces indoors. Funny, wasn't that in the arcs? Oh, this is some very chic interior design I'm seeing. Very wabi-sabi. So if the windows only slide parallel to the walls, then it wouldn't matter whether they were open or shut when Creek was shot. The blood would always end up on the same side. Hey, I said I finally got the windows lined right up in the arcs. You didn't say that. At least not aloud. Thank you for always listening, Sarah. But I said it just now, so whatever. What do you mean, lined up? The blood spatter. Looks a lot nicer now, doesn't it? Yes, thank you, Your Honor. That is so inappropriate for an adjutant to do. But it's gotten us all on the same page. We can reasonably conclude that the windows were closed when Creek was shot, at the very least. Yes, the one that were next open is something you'll fight over, I'm sure. Now, if the arcs data could tell me whether the windows are actually soundproof. I doubt the arcs could simulate that accurately for you, Your Honor, but if we re-examine the scene for that specifically, it should be simple enough to waste the court's time. Forgive me for repeating myself, Your Honor, but even if we prove conclusively that the windows are soundproof, the defense's argument still hinges on the omission of one detail in the witness's testimony. Putting it another way, just because he didn't hear the music, that doesn't mean he couldn't hear the music because the soundproof windows were closed. The devil's proof. Yes, and you actually used it right this time. I did my reading. She's effectively conceded that the windows were soundproof, but she's also shifted tactics and it's a formation I don't recognize. That's to be expected. I'm no general, but I don't need Makoto here to tell me that war is deception. So how about a little misdirection? Listen up, Sarah. The important thing about the devil's proof is that it's always on our side. The side of underdogs, lovers, and dreamers the world around. The side of the defense, innocent until proven guilty. That's what makes the devil so infuriating for the prosecution. The people make a fair point, Your Honor. There isn't really any hard evidence for my fleeing suspect theory at the moment. But the people haven't disproved it either, have they? Banger? I forget the exact details, Your Honor, but all we need is a shadow of a doubt, right? To overturn 5 dead bodies, the testimonies of 3 cops, and a rinse up of the floorboard in forensic evidence. Yeah. Fenu? Fury. Have you lost your mind? Are you trying to piss off everyone here? Yes. Come on, you don't hate my theory that much, do you? I'm warming up to it. Let us stick to the facts for now. At the time Rogers and Chauvin arrived, the front door was locked. Is this Morgan's theme? It's a banger. Even if Rogers didn't notice it until stepping inside. And at the moment Creek was shot, at least we can be certain the soundproof windows behind him were closed. Yes, those are the facts. Why are you restating them? Because there's something that's been bothering me. If we accept these as the facts, one part of Honorable Officer Rogers' testimony makes no sense. The heard gunshots! If the window was soundproof, how did he hear it? How could these two officers have set off in response to the sound of the gunshots if the room was deafened at the time the gun was fired? Now you go there? Oh, crap. Yeah. Wait, excuse me? What are you talking about? Your partner heard gunshots. But how is that possible? But he said it. He said it, even on the radio. He called it in. Sure enough, I can see it right now here in the police's network database. 9:40 a.m., Officer Tariq Chopin reports shots fired. So he did, and since we can't ask him to testify, we'll just have to take him at his word. But just to clarify, Officer Rogers, are you saying you never heard any gunshots yourself? Well, I didn't have my head out the window at the time like him, so that's what you're trained to do, isn't it? Reporting anything you hear or see around the network. Well, one report is usually sufficient, but confirmation is always ideal, right? Yes or no, Officer Rogers? I never heard any gunshots. Hang on, are you really... So you never heard a peep, but your partner, he somehow managed to walk you both over to exactly where 4 vicious murders had been committed before anyone else got there. I just drove where he pointed, so... Counselor, you need to be very careful here. Thank you for your concern, Miss Rockford, but don't forget, I hate losing. I said, but don't forget to direct your comments to your bench. To the bench. You bring that up now? Every cop in the room already thinks I'm a mob lawyer at this point. Compared to that, mocking the memory of the deceased is a small time. I feel like you're going to say something shocking here, and I can stop you. But I really can't stop you before you say it, so... I'm just confused as all, Your Honor. How could a Chopin have possibly arrived at the scene of the crime when he couldn't have heard any gunshots, unless he was asked to come there directly? Oh, like he got an Evite? Exactly. Officer Chopin answered a distress call from the Blue Bloods. Tell me, are these her usual tactics? Turning the entire city against her for no discernible reason? No? Well, the first time we met, she did, technically. Your Honor, the defense is completely out of line. The gallery is pretty poorly behaved, too. You gonna rein this in, or should I? Allow me. Tariq Chopin was an upstanding officer with no marks on his record. You say he was some kind of blue blood pawn, but he had to break into their building in order to enter. And you have the gall to claim you answered a distress call when there's no panic button, no phone records to suggest one was ever sent. True? True? That's all you have to say after posthumously accusing the son of 2 city councilmen of being corrupted by blue blood pocket change? It's a fair point. Chopin was the son of 2 city councilmen, and by all accounts a dedicated police officer. He wouldn't work with the Blue Bloods without an unusually strong motive. The kind of things that would make the headlines. The bombings, maybe? Did they get a tip about the bomber? Damn it. Who knows how deep the conspiracy goes? City contract for mercs. Is it this one? Is that connected to the Blue Bloods somehow? White Adder, Fang, and Demico. The city council is evaluating new security contracts ahead of next month's convention. What? Oh, that was right. How about yes, Counselor, his family is very well off. Officer Chopin would never compromise his well-documented morals for anything less than an earth-shaking opportunity. Yes, Counselor, but his family is very well off. What could this earth-shaking opportunity have been? How about a donation to his parents? Sidebar for a moment? How are you all thinking about voting? Oh, don't get me started. I'm a political junkie. What are you... Sorry, on the ballot measures specifically. Huh? Am I the only one who sweats over this stuff? Maybe it's old-fashioned, but I was hoping to hear some diverse, nuanced opinions on Proposition 492. Funding of Atlas Pillar Rejuvenations Project. I think it's a nice idea, bringing prosperity to the lower wards, literal stability to everyone above them, and of course, the mother of all paydays to anyone lucky enough to own the land it'll require. Oh, sponsored by Chopin. Okay. I should have seen that. Wait a minute. You mean you... Am I the only one who reads the news anymore? Wasn't counting on this being rhetorical, but who on the city council is sponsoring Proposition 492? Chopin's parents. One last question. Less rhetorical this time. This crime took place at known Blue Blood property, so I was this down here. Creek's data pad, right? Or, no, the red ink! Highly confidential red ink documents were found underneath Chopin's corpse. They're almost entirely illegible by now, but you can still make out a reference to P492 right here. I can? I was just going by process of elimination. You can? 492 right here, yeah. That struck me as odd. Reinforcing the canopy. A state construction project that massive in the lower wards would mean even the police can't keep a crime scene secure down there unless they're willing to play ball with the Blues. It has to get past the Blue Bloods, or through them with open arms and firm handshake. Sorry, wasn't sure I actually had to spell it out, but it certainly looks like Patrol Officer Tariq Chopin was working with the Blue Blood Mafia to defraud the city. Uh-oh. She said it! She said that? What did you just say? Are you trying to piss off every cop and every politician in the city? Sorry, I'll gladly retract my statement. That is, as soon as any cop or politician or prosecutor can explain to the court how Tariq Chopin was able to arrive to the crime scene that night when we all know damn well he never heard any gunshots. It is a bit of a pickle. What you got for us, witness? What? I don't know, he had good ears or something, or good intuition or whatever. Your Honor, the simplest explanation was that Chopin was tipped off by a CI that he neglected to inform his partner about. Hey, Chopin wasn't a patrol officer with secret criminal informants that he's hid from his own partner. That sounds horribly corrupt. And you called my comments inflammatory? Corrupt? You've got brass, alright. That's rich coming from a mob lawyer defending the Hound of Ikaria. Big uh-oh. Your Honor, the witness's last statement was a regrettable slip of the tongue. Frankly, his entire testimony has been less than ideal, and so I've already snipped the jury's feed, but the crowd... Seriously? He's the Hound? But isn't the Hound that... cop killing animals? Knew the whole house stank like that. Watch what you say about a man's family, you... Or what? You'll stab us in the back, too? Sosuke, please calm down and shut up. Bad Apple, hang the whole house with him. Your Honor, these outbursts from the gallery are not ideal, but we need to focus on preventing... It's not enough you butchered him like that. You gotta pay this lawyer to spit on his grave, too. How dare you! While your pigs were colluding with Blue Bloods to rip off everyone in the lower wards. Better than a Blue Blood than the piss running through your veins. Sarah, hold him. Stop him from doing anything stupid. Now! Okay, it was fun, but you've ruined it. We're all done. This court is now in recess. Bailiffs, clear the room. No, I'm not done talking. I want to speak. This heat. Burn the house. Tension like a haze in the air. Rip him out by the roots and on the back of my neck. Should have taken you out when I had the chance, you. A bead of sweat and something that feels like... Oh shit! Die, you son of a bitch! Behind us! Get down! What am I reaching for? I don't even have my gun. London? Was he about to shoot me, or... Hey, are you okay? Are you hit? Sosuke, I'm not injured. The danger's gone, and the heat of the moment replaced by a chill of cold sweat on my lower back. But why did you push me down? What? What do you mean, why? Why did I take my time turning back to trace the bullet's trajectory. Vaguely, I'm aware of stomping feet as the crowd rushes to the exit, but the sound is far away. Reflexes. Sorry. You alright there, ma'am? I'm fine, Detective. Thank you. For a moment, I lock eyes with Detective Quasim London. In that instant, I recognize a nameless, redacted, flickering across his face. Cold and sharp like frostbitten furs. Nameless. We don't need a word for it because we only ever see it once. At the very end. Okay. I've taken 60 seconds to yell into a couch pillow, so maybe now one of you can tell me what the hell happened out there? How did that man get in the courtroom, the building, with a weapon like whatever the hell that was? It was his own arm, Madam Barrows. I happen to be allergic. Mark answer is yes. Modified illegally at some literal chop shop. Fully prosthetic but fairly low tech. It uses a simple air intake system and projectiles made of enamel. Enamel as in teeth? Where on earth do these people? Doesn't trigger any metal detectors, looks organic from the outside, but if you're aiming at flesh it gets the job done. And are metal detectors all that stand between a crazed gunman and the law of the land? No, Your Honor, we're looking into it now, but we already found some discrepancies in the personnel files of the courthouse security team members. He probably got his hands on a key card, lost, bought, or stolen, and had it modified to get him in the building. Only needs to work once. This time it did. Who was he aiming at? Was he aiming at Sosuke? I doubt he expected to leave alive, but you ask me, we're lucky he stuck with something more directed instead of an explosive. This is a nightmare! What am I supposed to do now? The jury must be horrified. I don't know how we could proceed. As I recall, the agenda cut the feed the moment Officer Rogers mentioned the Hound of Ikaria, so they didn't actually see the shooting. And by the way, how does a patrol officer know that my client is the lead suspect on the case? Would anyone like to explain that to me? You'd have to ask Organized Crimes, but the mood around Rogers has been celebratory. I'd imagine that there are plenty of cops eager to describe in detail what he'd achieved by catching Sosuke red-handed. Allegedly. There's no presumption of innocence in station locker rooms and cop bars, Counselor. So the OC department buys Rogers a round of drinks, and 24 hours later I've got a shooter in my courtroom. Who was he? The shooter's been ID'd as Bowen Bresson, low-level muscle in the Blue Blood Mafia. Trials for possession, dealing, assault. Attempting to carry out an assassination in a courtroom full of cops is quite the step up. Any connection to Creek's pod? Meh, older generation, different part of town. Not exactly thick as thieves. So trying to execute Sosuke wasn't an act of revenge. He was given orders. Yes, that's very interesting, but it's a job for the police to handle. Counselor Morgan, I assume you'll be filing for a mistrial. About that. I feel it's in my client's best interest for the trial to continue. A blue blood gunman just tried to shoot him. But the jury didn't see that. All they know right now is they've been given a long lunch. The goal, Your Honor, as I've always understood it, is for a defense attorney to do what's best for their client. Right now, clearly, the Blue Blood Mafia is convinced my client killed 4 of their men, and every cop in the city thinks he killed Officer Chopin. If he walks on a mistrial, he won't be able to walk down the street without getting shamed. Sosuke Ikaria doesn't need a mistrial. He needs a media blackout. I really hate that term. She's right, Your Honor. If the story spreads that the Blue Bloods tried to assassinate Sosuke, every juror in the city will assume he's guilty. We won't be able to find anyone over the age of 10 who hasn't heard of him, let alone put together 12 unbiased peers to judge him. Even if that's true, and even if it's possible, what you're asking for is... Detective, is the building still in lockdown? Standard procedure says to keep it that way for another half hour. We would have to. The stands are full of police officers, and any one of them could. Ambulance chasers will pay prime for the story this rich. Someone's gonna break rank. We don't need the blackout to last forever. We just needed it to be intimidating enough that the story doesn't leak until the trial's over. Which will be when, exactly? You can finish tomorrow. There aren't that many witnesses left on the docket. Finished? Tomorrow? Yes, Your Honor. Fine. Yes, we'll have a blackout. A big, scary old blackout, like we're the shadowy masters of the universe. Happy? Perfectly. Thank you, Your Honor. Detective, follow me. You'll need my authorization to activate the building's blanket protocols. Surprised to be arguing for the same thing as you for once. Thanks for not gagging from the effort. Any other defense attorney in the city would have taken the mistrial, dumped the Hand of Ikaria on some other idiot's doorstep and cast their check. Some other idiot, huh? Or is it that you can't dump him? You under house arrest already? I haven't felt threatened by them. That could change fast if you failed them. House Ikaria are high society, haven't you heard? And I'm beneath their notice. I don't think they bothered to ask me just for underperforming. Sounds like exactly the type of thing that high society types would do. Going this far for your client, though. You know me, defender of the weak, champion of the downtrodden. I'd go through a lot more than this to keep my face out of the papers. Hopefully when the story does eventually, the focus should be entirely on Sosuke. But if this means people start recognizing me, remembering me, Bowen Browson will be glad London did him in one. I'd twist the knife slow as a second hand if he's... Because she doesn't want it like being noticed. Compared to you, I guess not. I've never seen anyone get shot before. Oh. Right. Sorry. No, I'm sorry. That was... Maybe I'm feeling jealous. I spend all this time poring over crime scenes and diagrams, trying to get inside the head of Heartbreak of all people, and maybe I get into my head like I'm some kind of unfeeling badass, just to freeze up like a deer at the sight of actual violence. I need to get over that. Do you? Do you need to get over it? I have a responsibility. A prosecutor isn't a hangman, Emma. No, if a hangman does their job right, the neck snaps and the subject's dead before the pain ever reaches their brain. If I do my job right, Siska Ikaria spends the rest of his life drooling on himself while Megs haggle over the property rights to his brain matter. If you feel that bad about it, you could always recommend a lesser sentence. That's just the thing. I've never felt that bad about it at all. Runs in the family. The way she whispered in that half-stuttering style, I'm not even she heard it herself. Does her family know something? Alright, that should free up your phone from the blanket. Thank you, Detective London. You're, welcome, Counselor Morgan? Something I said? You didn't say anything yesterday about what the Hound of Ikaria really is. Come on, there's a lot of code names to remember. Would you believe it if I said I didn't put two and two together? Maybe I would if I hadn't seen you act that fast back in the courtroom. That was a lucky shot. From across the room with the crowd moving around him? Yeah, real lucky. I know, I'm agreeing with you. Though it would be a lot less lucky if you were, say, already watching him. Did you know? No, but I'm flattered you think I'm brave enough to stick around for a shooting I knew would happen. But you recognize him. Took a spot on the back of my brain, even in disguise. It helped that the guy was fidgeting around all day. Bresson had been in the courtroom all day. How long had he waited for to take his shot? Did you get a good look at him? I did not. You shot him very fast. Eyes bloodshot to hell and back. Nosebleed, flushed extremities. He was high as a drone. Probably met the bug, considering how well the blue blood have done pushing it. Metahex Nirvana? The party drug that the college kids are huffing? It's been a long time since I was in college. I guess it could be good for a party in small doses. I'm hypothesizing here. Don't take this out of context. Sure. But at higher doses, a couple of months ago I saw this guy stumbling around one of the open markets. Eyes dilated and mouth moving a block a minute. He knocked over some bicycles, so I cuffed him to the rack, hoping he'd sober up within the hour and I could move on. Is Sarah okay? Are Sarah and Sosuke okay? Like, did he end up firing the shot, or did London get him before he could? I don't think that's clear yet. He broke 4 teeth. And he had started biting his arm by the time I knocked him out. But anecdotes are cheap. With one bad chip, and the silver ball that's now rolling. You believe the hype? You think they're gonna legalize it? Within the next 2 quarters, if they ask me. I need to go use the bathroom. I'll be right back. happened to the Blue Bloods monopoly? Up in smoke. Pharma megs and dispensaries of the world will step in to reap the rewards, and the Blue Bloods will have to stink off and cook up some other haze to push. The great time rolls on. The Blue Bloods have legitimate income sources, right? Like Sinus? Yep, some of them are pretty profitable, like their host clubs and pink rooms. So if the Blue Bloods can run those businesses just fine, why can't they stay in control of Nirvana once it's legalized? There's competition and name recognition and locale and real estate, and basically they can't afford it. The buy-in's too steep. Everyone past the door likes it that way. Legal drugs are a whole other realm of profitable. Folks like the Ikaria do not want to share. Gee, not even on special occasions? Well, like I told you, there was that meeting last year, but their playdate fell apart. Hey, what you said back there in court about Prop 492, you really buy that? Tariq Chopin working with the Blue Bloods? It's quite the unlikely pairing, I'll admit, but that might have explained why it ended the way it did. So what was the verdict? The verdict is only handed down after the jury's finished deliberating. That may take... The show must go on. And the shooter? Getting introduced to the accommodations down at the morgue right about now. He was some blue blood muscle named Bresson. Ring a bell? As I said before, all these blue bloods are alike. He tried to shoot you, Sosuke, and I was standing very close to you when it happened. I'd like a little more detail than that. I've never met him, never heard of him. That's the truth. But the Bresson family is known to be enforcers of the blue blood leadership. So it's the old guard who want you dead. Does that make the Youngbloods the enemy of an enemy? Didn't you tell me Creek was a Youngblood? Considering what I'm on trial for, I doubt they're fond of me either. God damn it, Sosuke, who doesn't hate your ass? I need to try harder to disregard the nonsense that comes out of that adjudgment's mouth. It might be starting to sink in. Sosuke, you were captured when you could have been ignored. You were tortured when you could have been ransomed. And now these people are trying to kill you in one of the most secure buildings in the city. What are they after? Why are you at the top of the Blue Blood shit list? Is it because of... Is it something the Hound did? Did you help one of the old guard retire early last week? That particular messenger communicates only with the highest class of clientele. Corporate rivals and the rest of the nobility. Yes, the Hound of Ikaria is known in the lower wards, but he isn't truly feared there, and he hasn't taken the life of any blue blood, noteworthy or otherwise, in over a year. So not since you were reassigned to guard duty. Does it have something to do with the Renegade? Makoto seemed hesitant to discuss anything to do with them. Because that's the house's way, Oreo Holdings takes care of Renegade and the like. If Makoto happens to appear to know anything about their inner workings, that would be a breach of house lines. So, Renegade is just a red herring. Is it because of what happened a year ago? How do you know about... What happened a year ago? A meeting between the old guard and the house. You were going to work out some deal for the Ikarian network to distribute a blue blood product. Why would we want the base... Didn't cook swill the blue blood sold at our storefronts, our pharmacies? You wouldn't, not until after Nirvana is legalized. Yes, I figured some stuff out. Stop pouting. There was a meeting last year, yes. A private meeting that was to be kept strictly confidential. The IFG met with the old guard to discuss a deal. It fell apart. Voices were raised, weapons drawn. I was in the shadows and I stepped in front of a blade for Makoto. The house elders were perturbed afterward. They feared for Makoto's safety and perhaps felt that they had grown overconfident. The Hound is a useful tool, but not indispensable, so they ordered me to guard Makoto full time. Isn't that a great honor, guarding the head of the leadership? Of course it is. Then why do you sound like that? You get points for picking up on it, but you need to learn how to take advantage for it. So your deal fell apart. Blood was drawn. I kind of assumed this was par for the course in your world. It's not unheard of. So why are the old guard still trying to kill you and Makoto a year later? I don't know! I don't know, Morgan, because I'm not an old guard. Is there someone we could talk to who is? There's always someone for a price. But if that's how it's gonna go, I'm gonna need a drink first. Here to join us? What are you talking about? Sorry to disappoint, but I was here first. The net's slow as shit at this wing of the school. No one else comes here if they don't have to, so it's a quiet spot to read. Yeah, it is a detective mystery. So what? Like 5% of the books in the library are. Well, it's not like I own the room. If you want to convene your club meetings here with all your many members, I can't exactly sue you. Especially not because since you're gonna be some big shot lawyer. Join your club so I won't get evicted? Isn't that like blackmail, counselor? Mutually beneficial, sure. So it's just plain old corruption. You'll do just fine out there in the adult world. Yeah. Oh, you're already corrupt as a child? You'll do just fine. As long as you don't go around telling people I'm a member, you can put me down. You need to add our phone numbers too? No, I don't actually care. Is something wrong? Why do you think that something's wrong? It's very unusual for you to wake up mid-transit. When you decide to nap, you fall asleep very fast, and you sleep very deeply. Suspiciously so. Sometimes I'll try to wake you and I could just swear you're pretending. I have no idea what you're talking about. Besides, you're the one who's been quiet. I've been bothering Sosuke, I think, pestering about catching bullets. If you were bothering Sosuke, you'd say it. Turn to that side in that bitchy pose of his. But I can't catch a bullet either, even though I'm fast, and I can see fast. Sosuke was the one who acted while I just... Sosuke's trained for that exact kind of thing. Trained for his whole life the way he tells it. Father built me to be strong. I should be able to... David didn't build you to be anything, Sarah. He didn't even really build you. Just watch you grow. And do you think I'm still growing? Still developing? Do you think I could get taller? I think you shouldn't get your hopes up about that. I want to be taller. Wah. Come on, you can bounce back faster than that. I'm sorry, I suppose I still am processing what we saw back in the courtroom. When Detective London took out that shooter. I know that Detective London has been a police officer for many years. It stands to reason he'd act decisively in circumstances where so many lives are at risk. What I'm still thinking about is the man he killed. Yeah, but there's only so much speculating we can do about his motive until... I'm not thinking about his motive. I'm thinking about how he is dead. You haven't been out and about that long. Everything's new to you, even the most ordinary stuff. Guess I forget that includes the extraordinary, too. You've seen violence like that before, then? Yes, I have. Seen people die? Yes, I have. Seen more people die than most your age? Most lawyers? Probably a safe bet. This is a private subject, isn't it? Death is always private. I'm no exception. Do people ever get used to it? I can only speak for myself. Have you gotten used to it? Why did it show Emma every time is like the first time? I hope everyone is like you then. It doesn't seem like the kind of thing everyone should get used to. Sorry to disappoint you then. There are no people like me. Why did you think about Emma? Because Emma's scared of violence? Scared? Irashai. To what do I have the pleasure of hosting my two favorite girls? One's Sarah. Who's the other? Big of my imagination, apparently. Do you want something to drink? What do you recommend? I've got just this case of beautiful tawny deep reds from volcanic soil across the sea. Savory and full, with notes of cherry and oak. You just described a tree, down to the dirt. Well, I would very much like to try it. Sorry, you're underage. She's an android. A very realistic one. What do you say to customers who walk in and see you drinking at the counter? Irashai? 2 waters coming right up. Wait, back up. Your client is the Hound of Ikaria? And I was the last person to find out what that actually means. And it should be easy enough to tell whether he did the deed or not. The Hound always leaves a calling card. So I hear. Is that literal? Stark white business card laid neatly on the ground with the house's insignia. I don't understand why the house would go to such length to let the victims know who attacked them. These new ability types, their whole lives are galas and boardrooms and cocktail parties and wine tastings, where every sentence has a front and back to it, and every glance is an old unspoken clause. To them, an unambiguous act of violence is an exclamation point that they can't misconstrue. And the Ikaria aren't exactly at the top of the new ability pecking order. Reminding the others that they still got their fangs is a viable strategy when they know they're outclassed and who knows how many mountains of gold. That doesn't explain why such a supposedly great assassin has gotten made on more than one occasion. Well, he's probably just doing his job there. If all he needed was to get away with murder, he'd be a poisoner or a sniper. All the major houses love to use body doubles. If he kills a target behind closed doors, the house can just bring out a spare. Or hell, claim the entire thing never happened. But when the Hound kills where a house's rivals can see, the damage sticks. You know a lot about the new ability, don't you, boss? Are you considered a part of the neo-aristocracy? Do I look like I come that honest way? I don't run a bar in Midtown at the Hobby, kid. Wouldn't know it looking at how profitable your wine section is. It'll catch on. The Hound was a nasty surprise, but the big reveal isn't making anything click for me. A blue blood assassin trying to mist him mid-trial. I don't get it either, but the blue bloods aren't as rational as they used to be. Used to be? I traded with them a good deal when I was younger, and they were richer. Traded what? Oh, stock tips. Oh. This was before the Ikaria cut them down? I was a young man, hungry to establish myself, and the blue blood were the biggest game in town. The rest weren't even a twinkle in some psychopunk's eye back then, and the Ikaria cartel were just that, drug smugglers and dope runners. The blue bloods used them as couriers. A reversal of fortune. Could be their names on opera houses and hospitals all across the city today if the Ikaria hadn't killed them all. But didn't they have allies connections? The morgues were overflowing with cerulean blood. No one wanted anything to do with them. But they were the victims. Corporate partners are risk-averse. Political alliances require you to bring something to the table. And when you fall that far, that fast, the common folk assume it happened for a reason. They thought the blue bloods deserved it just because it happened to them. All that was left was the old-timers, the grandparents, and the great-uncles, all suddenly without heirs. They recruited lackeys and orphans during the Red Decade, found family that became the first gen, and then the young bloods. What about the money? You're starting to sound like a real human. Some of it, the cash, the gold, the jewels, the Ikaria just stole, but the vast majority of it is held overseas where it was safe, untouchable, and impossible to get your hands on without the right blood. Locked behind GFA. Getting butchered by the Ikaria was a bad beating, but losing that money was unforgivable. The rest of the blue blood mafia around the world will never accept it until them back into the fold until they recover it. Exiled from the paradise because they tempted fate with their hubris. Has a certain poetic charm to it, no? It would have to be a very sobering poem. Those are the ones you remember, aren't they? Probably while the blue bloods are still humming the same old hymns, passing down the same ghost stories and urban legends. They did seem to be a surprisingly superstitious bunch, crossing their fingers over the Red Hood and... Hey, what's a Little Lord? That's another one. New spin on one of the oldest tales in the book. A Promised Prince. The belief is exactly one kid survived the fall of the leaves, one lone heir to all the fortune. Got spirited away overseas or out west in secret, and one day he'll come back to claim what's rightfully... I'm guessing you heard this one before. Is there any truth to it? Orgard certainly seem to think so. Need to think so. It's probably what's keeping them alive. If they can hold on another 5 years, they'll finally find the heir they've been looking for, and they can rectify decades of embarrassment and shame. Thinking like that is what makes the young blood start talking about, maybe the old guard doesn't care what happens to us. What do they expect? Blood's thicker than water. I'm enjoying this game so far. After this and Unbeatable, I don't know what we've got next on the docket. I'll look for a game to play. But we don't know anything about Nintendo's upcoming library, and we don't know anything about, like, any of the games that I'm interested in. We don't know their release dates. I'm hoping for an early 2026 Danganronpa 2x2 release date. Like, probably around March, but I don't know. I'll find something to play. I'll browse Steam for games. The original full expression is the thought that blood of the covenant is thicker than water of the womb. This actually suggests that camaraderie between those who fought together is stronger than simply sharing a common relative. Yeah, well, if that was actually true, then maybe people wouldn't have amputated the expression centuries ago. Still, this is 30 years of water, or blood covenant, if you prefer, that we're talking about. Youngbloods give their life to the Mafia. Each of them had to choose it over their own family. It's a pretty raw deal to cut them loose just because some shelter kid, only valuable for his DNA, decided to show up after all these years. You think the old guard would throw away the Youngbloods if it meant reuniting with their little lord? I know it, and so do the Youngbloods. That doesn't seem to be a dynamic that incentivizes them to look very hard for this little lord. No, it incentivizes them to smother the royal bastard. If I assume my client is incorrect, that means someone else killed Tariq Chopin is innocent. That means someone else killed Tariq Chopin. Someone who didn't do it in self-defense. Tariq Chopin, you mean the son of the city councilman? Adopted son. His parents are government officials. Even if they're loaded, the Mob Act can't protect all their records. Intended to protect the safety of individuals. So it protects rich people. So it's to protect people, rich people. Okay. Sarah, look this guy up. What do you want to know? How old is he? His age is listed as 27, but the entry has been edited a number of times. There's a great deal of back and forth between database contributors in the last 36 hours of the addition and removal of an asterisk. It seems his original birth certificate was lost. Well, that's shady as hell. Only kinda. If he was an orphan 27 years ago, that's pretty firmly in the red decade. A lot of paperwork was getting lost back then. That's a kind way of putting it. What would be an unkind way of putting it? The governments of the world were scrambling. I want to know about his adoption. His fathers adopted him in 2066 after 3 months of visits to the Gospel Home Orphanages, a private philanthropic institution that is no longer in business. Bankrupt or bought out? Bankrupt. Damn it, if they had just gotten swallowed, the parent company must have kept their records. The adoption itself was somewhat of an event. There are multiple news articles and photos of it. Not trying to cast doubt on the realness of their connection, but they wouldn't be career politicians if they let a photo up that good pass them by. Unless they wanted to draw attention away from who they were adopting, and no, a child shows up quietly in a politician's life looks guilty as sin, they wouldn't let people think, this isn't useful. I can go in circles all day speculating about this. What was his education? Tariq Chopin had a law degree. Who gets a law degree then becomes a patrol officer? The son of a politician, it's not a bad path. If your superiors know you're connected and smart and can recognize when the law is being broken, they'll keep you far away from anything real. You can ghost for a year, then move into politics as a veteran of the force who's hard on crime. London did mention he was far too principled to be likable or reliable. If joining up with the police was nothing more than a calculated move, it means he had a clear plan as to what to do after, and it probably didn't involve defrauding the city in a real estate scheme. I can think of a few reasons why a cop would be murdered at the scene of a crime like that, but Tariq Chopin wasn't some ordinary cop. The strongest motive that comes to mind is... Wait, you really think... You think Chopin was the Little Lord? You're the last person I'd ever expect to believe in fairy tales, Red. Can you honestly say it doesn't fit? If we, for a moment, assume that unicorns and dragons and shukinokos are real, what do you mean? Shukinokos are very well documented. I can show you. Then yeah, it's possible that Chopin was the Little Lord, and if any young blood knew it, they want him dead, to prevent the old guard from abandoning them. 3 thoughts come to mind. 1, this is all guesswork on your part. Even the most zealous youngblood wouldn't off a guy just because he happened to be about 30 years old and adopted. They'd have to have seen something that at least suggested it. 2, as I recall, the only youngblood you know of is this Creek guy, and Creek was dead before Chopin ever entered the building. Clears his name pretty handedly. The only youngblood I know? Does he know? 3, I can think of at least one other group that killed to prevent the Little Lord from reclaiming his throne. Has Ikaria, and who better to cut them down than their most loyal rook? And that would neatly explain why the old guy would be pissed enough to try to kill Sasuke in a courtroom, unfortunately. Stay positive. Just because the old guard thinks Sasuke killed their precious hair doesn't mean he actually did. Hey Sarah, get some footage of me making this next one from over there in the corner. We'll shoot a promo. I just found this best hidden gem where this guy made the best drink ever, that kind of thing. Whether it's kind of cheap and fake, where it's kind of cheap and fake, but you're like in on the joke and it's not pretending to be genuine. Boss, with the numbers of followers Katsuji has, a video posted longer than 9 seconds, posted on this type of day. I don't want to hear that depressing shit. We'll cross-post or whatever. Does it have to be that corner? The lighting will be bad. Any corner, just make sure it's from a distance. From a distance, would it be better framed if... It'll look like shaky cam, found footage. It's more legit that way. My hands do not shake, but I will try. What are you doing? Making you a drink, obviously. That's quite the treat. Why? Because we've got some heavy shit to discuss. Start with ice. What do we do with like crushed ice like Kintsugi, Sarah? Kick it under the fridge. Exactly. Rock ice or nothing when you're missing a cocktail. Hang on, you taught her that? There's a drain under there. Not in my kitchen. When the ice melts, it works the floorboards. Half a lime, juice. Pay attention to the second half I'm using here, Sarah. Red likes it tart. Now you're the lawyer, and you got a hell of mind for all this stuff. Egg white. Toss the yolk in unless it's a weekend, in which case. Put the bowl in the fridge. Egg? In a cocktail? I don't drink cocktails much. Is that normal? But it seems to me like you're approaching the shooter from every angle but the deadly serious one. Borgia, if a customer says they prefer simple syrup, you let me know and we won't serve them anymore. Look at Sarah. She looks so happy. She's so happy. Look at her. She's so excited to be making a drink at the young age of 2. Alcohol. She's like 2, right? You need to consider that maybe the shooter wasn't there for Sasuke. I told you, they kicked me out after only a few minutes. Nobody is sending an assassin after me for that. Whiskey, Black Label or higher. Then shake the hell out of it. Word of mouth can be deadly down there in the fog. I saw her leaving the building can easily become I saw her running away. If somebody wanted to get to me, a courtroom filled with cops would be a shitty place to choose to do it. Yeah, but it might have been the only time and place they knew you'd be. Is he in on it? Does he know that we're HBK? Mint for a garnish. With charred cinnamon for smoky garnish. Serve immediately. A bitter blessing. Surely with that much lime it's a sour blessing, no? You want me to toss it out? Thank you for the drink. But I'm nobody, Rain. No one's coming to get me. No one even knows I exist. I hope you're right. I am. You won't know if you're wrong until it's too late. Bottoms up. You got all that, Sarah? Yes, boss. Hey, bottoms up is just an expression. You're supposed to sip it for gods. One last thing. Apparently, Sasuke's captors had talked about some kind of huntsman. If the little lord's an urban legend, Huntsman's a goddamn boogeyman. Orca's shooting the shit, going around burning tires, trying to make noobs of them. Noobs afraid to go off and piss by themselves. Right, so they're bullshit. I got the same answer elsewhere, but... Oh, they're very real. Huntsmen. Not a species native to our shores, thank God, but they're real. You just said they're boogeymen. Yeah, and the fact they exist is what makes them so damn scary. Are they some sort of assassin, like Bresson, the shooter in the courtroom? Nothing so concrete. Huntsmen are virtual shapeshifters. You feel a chill down your spine one night, go your way home from work, go to sleep, wake up at night to a man choking your own face, choking the life out of you, while he calls your mom from your own locked phone across the room in your own voice. But like I said, they're all overseas, in more contested parts of the world where the blue bloods are better funded. You wouldn't pay for one of them to come into our country unless you had a really good case or a weapon only they could take full advantage of. Well, I'll be sure to pass that on to Sasuke. Why? So Sasuke can start writing as well? I wouldn't bet against him as long as he knows what he's up against. Urban legends are myths, but boogeymen are easy to kill. How do you kill a boogeyman? Same way I'd kill anyone else. With pleasure. Oh, right. I actually need a recommendation for you. What kind of recommendation? At a bar, I think. Needs to be open tonight. Oh, what are you looking for? Well, it's not for me, but how much do you know about host clubs? What? What the hell is that supposed to mean? Just what I said, you can't enter the crime scene until you pass a security clearance first. You've got to be... You're a drug-pushing lowlife. Why would I need your permission to go anywhere? I take offense to that. I've never worked in pharma. Not the time to be a smartass. Riz, it'll only take 30 seconds. You're serious. This is reality. The city's expecting blue bloods to keep the crime scene secure. They're the ones committing the goddamn crimes. Hey, if that's your criteria, half the police force should now be disqualified. Or is excessive force not a real crime? Are battered spouses not real victims? Guessing assault's only assault when it's a real person on the receiving end. Cyanus is legitimate, Rays. All the paperwork is in order and signed by our bosses. They're idiots. These idiots are walking around barehanded and knocking shit over and leaving trash all over the goddamn place. Should we give them badges while we're at it? Let them investigate crimes too? We already investigate crimes. You have any idea how many missing teens there are in the lower wards? No, because we find them, because we actually give a shit about the people who live down here. Oh, and I'm sure your prices are very generous. Better parents to get a bill from us than a letter of condolences from you. So sorry, man, but he looked suspicious as he was running away. Han, not helping. Raze, let's calm down and... Sorry that I'm not calm when we got actual orcas stomping around the scene where a cop was murdered. Last I counted, there were 5 bodies upstairs. Are both your eyes broken, or do you not recognize anyone without a badge as human? Perhaps we've come at a bad time. Nothing for it. Gotta strike while the iron's hot. The iron seems very hot in this instant, I don't know. Sorry to interrupt, folks, but don't mind me. I'll just go take another look upstairs. Now you? Hey, why not? You nearly died once already today. Why not let these orcas give you the tour? Was that you giving me permission? No, both you and London should be at a goddamn hospital or whatever, getting debriefed. She doesn't need your permission. She has mine. Man, you can go right ahead upstairs. Talk over me again and I'll break your finger. Is that ad recording right now? It sounds like a threat. You want to hear a threat? Clearly, this isn't going to work. So, Han, why don't you go upstairs and wait for Morgan? I don't take orders from you. Who do you take orders from? Let me give him a call? Let him know you're going around kicking hornet's nests and scratching your head over why everyone's getting stung? Whatever. You think you could just walk away after the shit you said? Turn around and take a walk, sunshine. London, if you think for even one... I'm not kidding, Farah. Take a walk. Forget it. You all can go to hell for all I care. Oh, no, not you. For God's sake. Sorry about the bad timing. No, that's going to blow up no matter what. Situations like this require compromise, and Raze is uncompromising. At least you're around to balance her out. You might be the most compromised cop I've ever met. I get it? Because he's working with the Blue Bloods? And that shows you haven't met any cops. I'm surprised you're still welcome around here after what happened in the courtroom. Who? Oh, Bresson? Blue Blood's a pretty good organization, and Bresson was pretty firmly on the other side. Guys like Han who work in the gray areas might as well live in a different world. I guess so. I just didn't think the Mafia would allow the death of one of their own to go unanswered. They sent him into a courtroom packed with police with a modded arm that only had one shot. I don't think they're surprised he didn't make it back. Will Detective Raze be alright? She seemed angry. More so than usual. Yeah, she'll be alright. Blowing up, yelling, cursing, that's nothing. Practically healthy. It's the one who go quiet that you need to worry about. What brings you back here anyway? We're pursuing leads. Sounds serious. I need to go grab some water. I'll be right back. Anyone go digging into Chopin after my implications earlier today? Lady Rockford will probably take it seriously, if only to cross it off the list. But other than her, I think it mostly just pissed people off. Lucky for you, I think it could convince some text to prove your soundproof Windows theory. But don't expect to be welcome at City Hall anytime soon. Hadn't counted on it. Whatever else he's innocent of, Chopin did get here before anyone else, and no one knows how. Look, if he really did get some kind of coded message or secret text, there's no trace of it in any comm logs on his personal devices, and it didn't come from any of the tech we've examined on site. Have you found any secret passages on the premises? Afraid not, little lady, but maybe you'll have better luck than me. Secret passages? In what world? Was that your whole story back in the courtroom? You and Reyes happen to be in the area? If you don't want to take my word for it, Reyes will tell you the same thing. It doesn't seem like she wants to talk to Adonai at the moment. Can you tell me exactly what you two saw when you arrived? She's wearing the coat again. The 1099 went around at 10:15 p.m. telling us that Chopin's car has stopped. So we dashed across the street to an elevator. We were descending at 10:17 when Rogers reported that he was dead. At 10:21, we approached from the front of the building, saw the door ajar, lock blown in. How was the door ajar? Because it closes by itself, right? And his own partner confirmed it was no false alarm. We knew we couldn't do anything for him. Rogers had already apprehended the suspect, so SOP is, we focus on securing the area and clearing the premises. So the officer Rogers we saw in court today really did take Sosuke down all by himself. Yeah, charged in and pistol whipped him right in the back of the head. I extremely found that the first floor was in fact clear. Yeah, all these vaults were empty. You didn't wait for Cyanus to show up with the spare keys? Surprised you didn't throw your back out kicking down doors. Sunshine out. Besides, they weren't all locked. They weren't? That room right there, room 107. How is this important? But did the killer hide in there or something? Nothing inside there easy either. Guess the Blue Bloods missed a lock on nightly roundup or something. Cyanus had unlocked every door in the building at this point. When I first walked down this hall and when I walked out the front door later, how did this hall look then? If you do manage to find some kind of silent alarm, I'll be impressed. If you can prove that Chopin was dirty, I'll be floored. But even then, how are you going to convince a jury that anyone other than Sosuke killed him? But if you take it all as one set, it starts seeming plausible as an internal issue, don't you think? What do you want to pick this as a young blood and old guard going out at? Over what? The juicy bait that Chopin literally died over. Proposition 492. What's there to disagree about? That project would put money in everyone's pocket. Chopin was killed because the young bloods didn't want the old guard abandoning them. The old guard always hides their bet till the little lord returning. Does that mean the Redding plans to profit off of Prop 492 were a young blood conspiracy? Those papers were tucked inside Creek's safe before I arrived. Well, good hunting. You won't be joining us? Not this time. I gotta go pump the brakes on Sunshine before she finds a bar. Try not to piss off the Blue Bloods with any more wild accusations while I'm gone. I would never! Take care, and that goes doubly for you, Sparky. What does Sparky mean, by the way? It's a nickname, because you're so bright. A nickname? But I guess people are always calling you ads whatever they like, huh? Sorry, you should ask first. What do you mean? I'll just call you Sarah. But It's my nickname. You gave it to me. You can't just take it back. Well, okay then, Sparky. What the hell? Did you hate spearmint that much? That is, I would never want to see ungrateful. It seems like the smell's really starting to fade. Barely even the memory of blood now that so many feet have trodden through here. Nothing lasts forever. What? No, I already called you this morning. No, they're not. No, they're not. You're being paranoid. Yes, I'm sure. Yes, I'll call you tonight. Bye. Didn't mean to interrupt another lover's quarrel. What? Oh, no, that was... Dementia meds aren't working. They get confused this time of day. Forget it. That's what I'm gonna do. Just turn my phone off for a minute and forget. Cute Android, by the way. Aww. So what's up? There's a couple ways of going about this, but none of them are surefire. Might as well start out big and see if there's anything to this theory. Do the Blue Bloods use silent alarms? Yeah, of course. Thank you for telling us. Sure. I'm actually going to need a bit more than that, Miss Han. It's just Han. Did Creek have a silent alarm? She's hesitating all of a sudden. Is she unsure of the answer, or did she just give her first answer without thinking where or when, where it would lead? Nothing like that installed in the building. Us were treated up and spotted out by now. Okay, look, you seen the level of tech Blue Bloods have? It's secure, but it ain't subtle. Another on security firm won't have quite as much luck hiding their subsystem from the police as David Asher did, Sarah. But the Arcs can miss things that aren't tech at all. A silent alarm that's analog? How? Let me know if you figured that one out. Either an alarm is analog and loud or digital and silent. They don't mix. She's defensive, but her logic is sound. Approaching it from the other angle then, how could an analog silent alarm possibly function? A literal alarm, but one that can't be heard under normal circumstances. What a horrible smell in here. Like a dog whistle. She once bragged to me about your sense of smell. I don't think I was bragging. Could have sworn you puffed out your chest at the time. Doesn't matter. If I asked you to sniff something out, could you find it? The knife. I don't know where it went. I do know how to find blood. I want you to smell for blood. I don't know. Do you really need me to help you find blood in here? I'm not asking you to sniff in here. I want you to smell out the window. There are many strong smells in this part of the city, but there's something truly unpleasant as well. Something beneath this fire escape. Okay, now go fetch. You could ask nicely. Wait, Sarah. That's a very old rusted fire escape. Take the stairs. You're too heavy. As you command, Adonai. Several minutes later, Chara returned, looking worse for wear and seemingly in a bad mood. Did the weight comment bother her that much? Adonai, I do not like digging through trash. It is not a dignified way to investigate. Digging in people's trash is the basis of all good investigation. Easy for you to say when you aren't wearing all white. Yes, my knife, and it's charred. I found it among the ashes of a blackened steel drum below the fire escape. It seems to have been the site of a fire. Wasn't there a barrel burning in the alley when I first scoped the place out? Meaning the knife wasn't in a fire all night, but still. There does appear to be blood on this knife, Adonai. Shouted both the police and the scientist miss it. Their noses aren't as good as yours, evidently. That is true, but they have drones and dogs for this sort of thing. Yeah, but they have to actually use them. They have no reason to search the vicinity for a bloody knife if they found a sword sticking out of a corpse as a miscensored. Then... before DNA analysis, blood of another friend's accused. Blood, modern analytical tools should be at least able to identify blood typing. Great. Ready to get started? You were capable of recognizing my DNA, right? So why don't you try to analyzing blood type? It's gotta be simpler, right? Alright, to analyze the blood in the sniff, I'd have to use my... Pretend it's a lollipop or something. It's blood. Well done, blood. It'll taste like beef. You don't know what human blood tastes like. Of course I don't. Look, the fire sanitized it, probably. Just get it over with. I'll reference this incident the next time we discuss raises, I don't know. I'm paying her? What? What? Is it WarioWare? What the? What? What? What have you got? There's blood from more than one person present. Mostly B minus, I believe, with some A B minus around the tip. A B minus? Uh-oh. Alright, now I can cross-reference that with the rest of the data I have. Thank you for the report, Sarah. You're giving me a new lead to follow. And you've just made your first forensic contribution to an ongoing criminal. Hi, she just licked a knife with blood on it and vomited rainbows. Sarah did. You missed that. Type B minus, AB minus. So we need to find someone else with AB minus because we're the only person on here with AB minus blood type. Oh, and Sasuke as well. Us and Sasuke. How many androids can say that? No, come on. We've got some boxes to tick. Our client, Sasuke. According to Rogers, this is how we found him. Hi! I'm alright, I'm tired. Not a huge improvement there. He really was found in a terrible state, wasn't he? And that was before the police gave him his cop killer welcoming and... So, bring up the medical files on Sasuke. I want to go over everything we know about how he looked before Rogers arrested him. He was covered in blood, right? With samples taken for analysis. He's got some of Chopin's blood on him when he was face down, being cuffed by Officer Rogers, and also had a great deal of Trey's blood on his feet and pant legs. How exactly was he injured? His left hand was broken. He had internal bleeding throughout his torso. Thank you. Bruising and rope burns on his wrist where he was bound. Concussions all over the anterior side of his body, and he also sustained a large blunt force trauma wound to the back of the head. His biggest wound was to the back of the head? I guess he fell backward to the ground. There's also a small cut on his left hand, as if he cut himself in the kitchen. Woodies wasn't expecting a metaphor here, but it's effective enough. Any other questions about a client's arrest? Not unless there are some crime scene photos you've been holding out on me. How is it I'm the only one who's made an effort to preserve the crime scene? Red ink protocol, designed to make data difficult. It seems some of the responding officers attempted to, and the odds showed they failed. What do you see when you look at the pages? No more detail than you do, I'm afraid. It's strange, isn't it? They went to such length to protect this information, and yet the papers were left out where Officer Chopin or anyone could read them. They weren't left there by Krieg. I took the documents out of his safe so I could reach the mask, and I must have left them out on the desk afterward. Anchor Tan. Supposedly he was the first to die. Logically, he had to have been. He's the one who had the gun. If the attacker got it away from him, they must have done so first. Yes, I can see the gun was registered to him. Who the hell would look at this guy with that gun and just nod him along? Patrol officers TC and HR 1 week ago. The badge numbers match. They detained Tan briefly during a stop and frisk and found this gun on him. Finding a gun like this on anyone with priors during a stop and frisk, at the very minimum, that's grounds for 28 days detainment. Why'd they let him go? Is it possible that he was a criminal informant? If he was a CI, they wouldn't have even logged the incident. And besides, patrol officers don't have their own CIs. Then perhaps they let him go for some other reasons. Because they've already gotten what they wanted from him? Make sure to copy the file of that stop and frisk report. Found on Take's person over a week ago during a routine civilian talk by the officers that arrested him. They let him go with a warning, but why? And they found it was modded back then as well. They found it was modded back then as well. He's the only one who didn't die instantly. If anyone had the chance to use a silent alarm, no, he must have been paralyzed in between the time he was shot and his actual expiration. They weren't paralyzed. If they had been paralyzed, Yumi would have noted that in her autopsy. But he just sat there limp the whole time, didn't even try to move. He was playing dead, letting me think that he couldn't move so I wouldn't notice anything found in his hands, anything at all. It doesn't seem like it. They weren't holding something by the time their body got to the morgue. If he had been holding something and dropped it when he died, help me look. Anything small enough to fit in the palm of the hand. Hang on, what's this? What was that? Did you just jump? I was merely surprised by that sound, didn't I? What sound? I merely brushed against this. This little toy thing. Can you hear it? I can, and it is not exactly pleasant on the ears. Could any android hear, or is this some special feature of David Gay review? I'd imagine any android or robot or electronic device with modern features could pick up on this tone. Maybe I should close the window before I test it anymore and stop torturing all the dogs in the neighborhood. The specific frequency is not in your audible spectrum to begin with. But do you really think that Creek was toying with that nuisance maker in his final moments? Probably. Maybe to, like, alert Chopin. Maybe Chopin had a device that could see it, and that's why he went to the scene of the crime. Maybe, like, was it to alert Chopin of the... Is this evidence? It's a piece of crap about some crime scene tech left behind. Nothing relevant about it. Apparently, they've arrested the Heartbreak Killer. This copycat. Yes, the Heartbreak Killer's copycat. Let me just skim it for myself. Seems like Heartbreak isn't going away, no matter what happened to the original. So it would seem. That about wraps it up in here. Ms. Han, since Cyanus is technically in charge of securing the crime scene, what should we do with this? Adonai, please refrain from pressing that button more than necessary. Sorry, Sarah, I can see you don't like it, but Mrs. Han's phone doesn't seem to like it either. It's just Han, and I don't know what you're talking about. I get messages all the time. Han, ma'am, if you could please just admit it so she stops pressing that. Fine, whatever. Yes, you found one of our alarms. Pretty clever system. Not really, it's just an app. You set the frequency and get a note if the app picks it up. So Chopin had that app. A couple kilometers. Well, I have you here, though. Exactly how fast did you show up to the scene of the crime? This is a blue blood neighborhood. Did you really expect people to believe the cops lumbered their way here faster than any of you could? What exactly are you trying to say? Yeah, I'm tuned to that frequency, but I'm tuned into a lot of frequency. It's a good way of communicating without the megs or pigs. Look, listen again. So you didn't get this alarm in the night of incident? Didn't even know it went off that night? You got proof it did? Can you explain how else Officer Chopin could have gotten here? Nah, not my job to either. Is it your job to come to a fellow Blue Blood's aid when they're desperately calling out for help? I didn't know Creek like that. I didn't say Creek was the one who had this. Uh-oh, you're sus! You're sus, hon! I saw where you were poking around and they were the head of the pod, I assume. Creek's a stranger to me. Even though you're both Youngbloods? I'm guessing that's what the tattoo means. Neither of you make much effort to hide it. It is plainly visible, even in the autopsy photos. You have no idea what this ink means. Would you tell us what it means? Blood bag. The old guard use you as donors. Gangsters live a life of drugs, smoking, drinking, and back alley mods, then ends up with livers and kidneys that look like charred steak. Got no children since the Ikaria killed them all. Can't get on the donor list because they're geriatric reviled crime lords. So what do? Hey kid, want to be a gangster? Let me see if you got what it takes. Hold still while I prick your finger. They're tattooed our torso because even if you mod off all 4 limbs, you'll still pump clean plasma, every drop an indicator of quality. I'm a universal donor, so I've got 3. Triple A graded, just like me. And Creek? Save it for the trial, lady. Are we done here, you think? Not quite. You have O minus, okay. Emma's argument is that Sosuke didn't escape from you. He was brought out into the other room to question, and then he broke free. I know that's not true. Sosuke would have been stuck here until the police arrived if I hadn't handed in the Mag US to, well, frame him. And the knife, also to frame him. But secondarily, so he could cut himself free from his bindings. Remember what Sosuke told us when we first met? That he was bounded here the whole time until this bad Samaritan came along and gave him a knife. Now we know what knife he was talking about. And now I want to know whose blood this is. It would have belonged to Sosuke, right? All the other bodily fluids in this room do. Probably, but I need to know. You've already done it once. What's one more time? One more time will surely make me sick. Please, let us ask one of the Cyanus employees on standby. They have a record for very fast turnaround on DNA tests, I promise. I can show you customer reviews. That's right, Cyanus does DNA testing. Typically paternity tests as part of their private investigative services, but they've been assessing the police with DNA analysis around this time. I will flag the bindings to be analyzed. I've already made the request, Adonai. If you insist on making me test the bindings myself now, you will only be upsetting my stomach to satisfy your own impatience. Fine, but I'm going to cite this incident the next time we discuss arrays. Really a shithole in here, though. I agree with your sentiment, if not your choice of words. It feels like a cruel place. What is it? Was there something we missed in here, Adonai? The windows. They were closed when Creek was shot, still closed when Chopin and Rogers arrived on site, but they were open by the time Rogers arrived in this room. I use that contradiction to argue for the presence of a third party, because someone must have opened them to go down the fire escape. And then what? They must have dropped us into the alley and ran away, right? Yeah, that's one option. What's the other? Would it kill them to do some sweeping around here? I guess that would be contaminating the crime scene at this point. But then what the hell did these cops and scientist chumps actually do? Read on rolls and screw around on their phones? I think you're being a bit harsh in your assessment, but you aren't alone in your criticism. Detective Ray had much to say about how Cyanus employees were not wearing gloves and knocking over trash. If they had picked up trash, that'd be removing evidence. The arcs would light up. Adding trash, though? Help me look through this. Just start looking. If any of it requires DNA analysis. Wait, there. Red. Not blood. Ink. A torn page of the red ink document with what looks like a shoe print on it. Shall we try to match it to samples? Good luck. Cops and security types wear all kinds of boots. On top of which, 99 out of 100 shoes in the city are made by the same two Megs. But if the print isn't useful, that just leaves the actual text, and looking like the letters were all run through the wash a couple dozen too many times. Well, it isn't particularly informative, and I don't understand how this clue fits in with everything we've seen, but doesn't this seem important? How could it have been lying there neglected this whole time? Nah, princess, I'll have to call you right back. Of course, wouldn't dream of it. Come on, you know me. What'd you find here? More dead man's garbage? Keep it up and you girls are gonna make me look bad. Happy to be assistants. So would you like to add this to the arcs or should I? Well, seems like you've got momentum going, so please, don't let me get in your way. You don't wear gloves on the job, Miss Han? It's just Han, but you already know that. You probably already know that they don't really make them my size. So if we found your fingerprints in here, or on those windows, or even upstairs... Oh man, I'd be pretty embarrassed. We'd almost get rated 5 stars. So did you need me to walk you out? I'll be fine, thanks. Suit yourself. Just be careful you don't get lost. Sun will be going down soon. It'd be hard to find your way back in the dark. Are you threatening me? This idea is starting to look like a pretty safe bet. Your theory that Chopin was assassinated as an attack on the Old Guard, but how can we confirm it? We still haven't met anyone from the Old Guard, though even if we had, it occurs to me they would be reluctant to speak with Sosuke Ikaria's legal team. Don't be so pessimistic. The enemy of my enemy is usually willing to at least talk, and talk is where I do all my best work. You still got the address boss gave us? Hey there, tall, red, and mysterious. Ladies, please come in. Don't be shy. Let me guide you to a booth. Should we take a seat for now? With tastes as expensive as yours, if you get near a menu, these people will drain my checking account on overpriced champagne faster than I can blink. Oh, champagne! As much as you'd like. This is gonna derail fast if I don't find a way to shut it down. A surefire way to get the right kind of attention and douse their salesmanship in one go. I'll need to go with that. Hey, please don't frown. A smile will shoot your pretty face much more. I need to speak with your manager. What happened? They're all walking away. Hey, Mama? Yeah, there's some kind of, I don't know, accountant or whatever here to talk to you. The voice on the other end of his earpiece grumbles a response, a cranky one judging by his reactions. Mama will be out in a second. You're expected to buy something in the meantime. You don't want to drink the tap water in this district. It's all overpriced, lady. Might as well get something you'll enjoy. I thought my first visit to a host club would be more celebratory than this. How much thought have you given the subject? Do you think they were being literal when they were saying you were expected to make a purchase? Probably. Doesn't mean I'll oblige them. Though it's not like spending money here will make them less likely to cooperate. I would obviously suggest some suggestions based on customer reviews and price points, but for some reason I don't see prices listed on the items on their menu. Was a mistake made when formatting the data? I really hate this place. Oh, what the hell. Hey, Palm Jordan, pull out a tower for all I care. All eyes of the staff around the room dart to me. With a jolt of energy, the bartender jumps up to ring a bell. Palm D Tower! Tower, tower, tower! I'm not sure Sarah's eyes can get any wider. Let's take a commemorative photo, madam. Where would you like to sit? Who's the smallest spender in here? What? Well, I mean, we don't really keep track of that sort. His eyes wander, losing light until they settled into a glassy-eyed pity scale at an overworked-looking young man at a small table, adjusting his tie while the girl next to him. Send it over to him, king for a day. With the same nervous smile he used to shake hands with the suicide bomber, the bartender redirects the oncoming parade towards my designated lucky loser. He looks terrified. Money well spent. You just gave the tower away? I've got shit to do. Can't drink all of that. I could have perhaps helped. But even so, after you paid all the money just to pass it along to some stranger, are you some kind of saint? Oh, I'm not paying for that. Makoto's getting this bill. Your client? File it under investigative expenses. That is not exactly inaccurate, but what's he gonna do? Kill me? Given his position in this house and his age, it would be more likely that he'd have you killed. Bad enough that I'm walking into the lion's den here. Stepping even further into Blue Blood's territory to defend an Ikari assassin, do I really have to wait for the shoe to drop in a place this sleazy too? You're getting better at picking up on that. You were frowning quite openly. Are we in danger of getting arrested here? There's nothing illegal about a host club. How to know if the hostess really likes you, bro. Are you just uncomfortable then? Unamused. Have you ever been to an establishment like this before? No. Not even when you were apprenticing? There may have been certain work parties where attendance was strongly encouraged, but I never set foot within a kilometer of a place like this otherwise. I suppose if you have a hard spending limit, there's only so much you can enjoy. And it's not a matter of cost, it's a matter of taste. Surely everyone enjoys being paid attention, no? It's flattering. Not everyone takes to being complimented. I see, so you respond more to being challenged. What do you think? Perhaps not. I think you do! That's why you're gay for Emma. What kind of light reading gets tossed around in a club like this? I spent every night at a host club for 1 year. Here's what the staff taught me about emotional workloads in corporate settings. Oh wait, this actually looks somewhat interesting. Fungal infections? So, burning bamboo causes this syndrome. Not the reading material I expected to find here, but judging from the article, the Megs are getting concerned about growing fungus. Oh, okay, never mind, I'm stupid. Mama on deck! The big cheese! What exactly are you expecting? With a title like Mama, I would expect a stern but fair nurturing figure who... What the hell do you want? Is that the kind of treatment one should expect after this establishment after purchasing a champagne tower? That was you? Well, shit, you clearly needed information a lot more than I thought. The Ikaria must be giving you the mushroom treatment. Keep him in the dark. And feed him shit. Yes, I've heard all the lawyer jokes. Now, can we talk? Or can I get on the phone and claim that my credit card's been stolen? Sorry, I had to BRB for a second. You bought a champagne tower. We can talk all goddamn night if you want. Introductions then. I'm Morgan, Esquire, criminal defense attorney representing Sosuke Ikaria, with a glowing green toaster as your +1. Couldn't have put it better myself, Miss Kim Hana, small business owner. And one of the more influential members of the Blue Blood Old Guard, I take it. The Old Guard aren't the only Blue Bloods that have any influence at all. First Gens and Young Bloods should count themselves lucky to be in middle management. Should you really be calling them Young Bloods? Oh, now the Neon Robot is going to preach to us all about political correctness. Really, madam? I know PC. My gen invented PC. We've got PC coming out of our ears. So I mean it when I say that Youngblood is a term of endearment. Well then, I won't hesitate to use it. To their face? Better not. They knock your teeth out. How about a trade, Miss Kim? Mrs., you're talking to a widow. One who doesn't need anything from you. Not the best position to start bargaining from. We're trading information. If you can't think I can give you anything, you're not thinking very hard. Oh yeah? What do you think you've got? I don't have that great of a patsy to put forward. I can tell you what happened at the courthouse today. If something worth knowing had happened, it'd be in the news by now. There's currently a blackout on media coverage of today's events. There's always leaks. Finding one will take time. I can give you a first-hand account right now. Let's hear it. Bresson. What a goddamn idiot. Completely useless. He did manage to infiltrate an entire courtroom of police officers, even knowing he wouldn't make it out alive. And he still failed to hit the easiest shot of his life. But Bresson's just an incompetent addict. The useless idiot is the one who sent him there. Old Guard sounds like it moves slow and wise, but we've got a fair share of hot-headed dumbasses too. Impatient hot-headed dumbasses. My turn to ask a question. Money. Is that why you've been going after Makoto? Trying to drum up a king's ransom because you can't go to war without a war chest? Who says we're at war? Who says we're in any rush? Our plans are measured in decades, you little shit. No, time isn't on your side right now. Right now, more than anything, you need money. Says who? You? says the headlines. Time's running out before you miss the bus on... Nirvana. Everyone in the capital knows it'll be legalized by the end of next year. Bah! Party drug. Dumb money. Yes, dumb money. The best kind of money there is, and you can rake it in by the boatload. If you have the starting capital to build a dispensary network beforehand, as things stand, the Grey Wave is going to roll you hard work up in a ball and hand it off gently to the Megs and the Ikaria. You've been losing this game to them for 3 decades straight, but I can you still haven't gotten used to it. Of course not. Who the hell just rolled over for those upstart bootlicking... That goddamn fox smirking behind his perfumed incenses and painted screens of sheet and gold leaf. Should have cut out his eyes when I had the chance. I'm acquainted with the Hound. Who's the fox? Should we conduct a survey of all the IFG members' back tattoos? The fox! The Kitsune! Goddamn Daisuke Ikaria! The family's patriarch? Haven't had the chance to meet there in person. Ha! Knew there had to be a reason an Ikaria lawyer didn't stink of cigar smoke. Anodai does smoke, despite my repeated warnings. Have you had to go to a factory since loss of smell can be the first sign of, I don't stink. That's the takeaway. Now admit it, you want to capture Makoto so you can afford to ride Nevada to legitimacy. I don't want to capture Makoto, Ikaria. You know our history. In brief. So what part of the summary made you think that if I had the chance to end the Ikarian line, I wouldn't take it immediately? Are you speaking for yourself or the whole old guard? Nah, my turn to ask. Is the Hound gonna make it? You asking about my legal defense strategy? His injuries. Any chance he's gonna keel over from an infection after what Creek's pod worked him over? Did Bresson somehow manage to nick him? He's still recovering from the injuries he sustained when captured, but he was not harmed during the incident in the courtroom today. Yeah, Bresson didn't even manage a scratch. Not a scratch, huh? Did he even get a shot off? A detective on the scene responded before he could. A detective? Bah, not wasting a question on him of all people. Speaking of which, the bottle swung back around. Are the Blue Bloods working with the Chopin family to profit off of Proposition 492? Ha! You missed that one. Try another. You think Mr. and Mrs. Chopin are working hand in hand with us for a little cross-class embezzling? Those rich pricks wouldn't piss on us if we were on fire, and the feeling's mutual. But they're backing Proposition 492. If you could buy the land they need before the city knows that it needs it. The Chopin family aren't your collaborators, they're your marks. Bingo, kid gets a prize. Or they were, the plan's pointless, worthless now. The whole courtroom heard me explain how Creek had red ink documents on Proposition 492. Whatever blueprints, whatever land the city had in mind, they'll change all of it. Thanks for that, by the way. Don't blame me. Your plan was always fragile. It was destined to collapse the moment that anyone with more than a pull than a ticketing officers heard that the Blue Bloods had eyes on the real estate. Meaning the Blue Bloods would kill to keep those documents from circulating. Yeah, well, that's just how it goes for Plan Bs. And answer me this. What did you see on those red ink docs that ticked our hand about the Props 492? It was mentioned in abbreviation, if not in name, P492. You must add a lot more to go on than that. Names, diagrams. I saw Councilman Long. So Councilman Long is a name. Long, that sloppy bastard. Wait, you didn't know what was on those papers? Not exactly. You didn't know where Prop 492 leaked from. What are you saying? It leaked from that Brat Creek, obviously. Writing means it was printed from somewhere you trust, in a place, and it doesn't sound like you trusted Creek. Are those your questions? Because they're terrible and pointless. Blondie's already dead. Sir Chopin wasn't in on the plan. What options are left then? Might as well try asking. My client overheard talk of something interesting during captivity. Talk of the Blue Bloods bringing in the Huntsman. Fake. And you don't even know what that means. Your client heard wrong, and you're a fool for believing him without any proof. He also must have misheard that you brought a no mask into the city. Did Sasuke mention that? It's called a bluff, Sarah. Yeah, he must have been delirious. After all, if there had been a no mask at the crime scene, it would have turned up during the police investigation. Huntsman, ridiculous. Maybe he's real, maybe he's fake, maybe he's already behind you. Phantoms like that get their power from uncertainty. If I answered your question at all, that'd be your answer. Schrodinger's box is already open, though, and the mask isn't there anymore. It's not in the hand of the huntsman. Who has it? A dead man. Who just doesn't know it yet. Final round. What if we still want to ask? Our house, my rules. Who hired you? Why don't you spend your final question on that? Makoto Yukiriya. You. So no name, nobody, with no connection to any of the families. The preteen heir looked you up and hired you to defend this town. Either you're dumber than you look, or way curiouser than a sodomite. But you really don't know the answer, do you? Which I can freely admit. So why does having it point out to me feel like such a defeat? That ain't the deal. Then it can be rhetorical. What are you going to do? You lost all your hairs during the fall of the leaves. You were revived by the International Blue Bloods for locking your treasure behind GFA you can't track. Now all the Ord Guards need transplanted transfusions from the first and second gems to stay alive, and they won't be able to keep that up forever. Eventually all of you, will die. Will you rest in peace knowing that everything you managed to build will be laundered at what? 30%? 40%? 35% just to end up in the hands of some punks you tutored? What a nice young girl you are worrying about your elders. Well, don't you worry your pretty little head over dear sweet granny here, because she's a mean old bitch in a line of work where anyone stupid dies off young. She and hers are going to be just fine. Don't forget to close your tab before you go. The question irritated her, but it didn't make her despair. I may have misread this. The old guard have a way forward. Proposition 492 is no longer an option, leaving them with Plan A. The little Lord Batrik Chopin is dead. Yeah, he is. How dare they? After all they put him down there in that festering hole of a city district, to try and kill Sosuke in the courtroom. The nerve of those blue blood scum. Alright, and that is going to be where I end stream for today. I gotta go. I will see you... not tomorrow, because I have a flight tomorrow, but probably either Sunday or Monday.